Taurus, welcome back to the channel. I'm sitting here with my cards spread out in front of me, and honestly, the energy coming through for you today is absolutely intense. We're talking about this Friday of obsession energy, where someone who used to feed off your attention is now completely spiraling because you've pulled back. You're no longer feeding their ego, and oh my goodness, they are dying of anxiety because of your absence. Before we dive deep into what the cards are revealing, I want you to know that this reading is going to be raw and real. We're going to explore exactly what's happening energetically when you decide to step back from someone who was taking your energy for granted. The universe has some serious messages for you today, and I can already feel the intensity building as I shuffle these cards. So I'm pulling cards specifically for this Friday energy, and the first card that practically jumped out of my deck is the High Priestess. This is card number 3 in our journey today, and wow, she is speaking volumes about your inner knowing right now. The High Priestess represents that deep intuitive wisdom you've been cultivating, especially recently when it comes to recognizing when someone has been using you as their emotional supply. The High Priestess is telling me that you've been getting these subtle but persistent downloads about this person's true intentions. You know that feeling when you just know something isn't right, even if you can't put your finger on exactly what it is? That's been your experience with this connection. This card is showing me that your psychic abilities have been heightened lately, and you've been picking up on energy that this person has been desperately trying to hide from you. What's fascinating about the High Priestess appearing first is that she represents the power of the feminine divine, the sacred feminine energy that refuses to be taken for granted. You've been in this beautiful space of inner knowing where you've realized that your energy is precious, it's sacred, and it's not meant to be a free buffet for someone who doesn't appreciate what you bring to the table. This card is also telling me that you've been doing a lot of inner work lately, probably through meditation, journaling, or just quiet reflection time. The High Priestess sits behind that veil of consciousness, and she's been whispering to you about the true nature of this connection. She's been showing you that this person has been approaching you from a place of need rather than genuine appreciation and love. I'm getting that this person used to be able to text you or call you and immediately get that validation they were craving. They could count on you to respond, to engage, to give them that emotional hit they needed to feel good about themselves. But the High Priestess energy in you has awakened to the fact that this dynamic was completely one-sided. You were pouring from an empty cup while they were just taking and taking without giving anything meaningful back. The beautiful thing about the High Priestess is that she represents that moment when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You've reached this place of inner knowing where you don't need to justify your decisions or your boundaries. You simply know what serves you and what doesn't, and you're acting from that place of deep inner wisdom. This card is also showing me that your silence right now is more powerful than any words could ever be. The High Priestess is the keeper of secrets and hidden knowledge, and your absence is revealing truths about this person that they never wanted you to see. When you stopped feeding their ego, their true colors started showing, didn't they? Suddenly they became desperate, maybe even a little mean or manipulative, trying to get you to engage again. Moving into our second card, and this one is absolutely telling, I drew the 3 of Pentacles, which is number 67 in our deck, and this card is speaking directly to the collaborative energy that this person thought they could manipulate. The 3 of Pentacles traditionally represents teamwork, collaboration, and building something together, but what's coming through for your situation is how this person tried to make you feel like you were building something meaningful together, when really they were just using your skills, your energy, and your resources for their own benefit. This card is showing me that this person probably made you feel like you were partners in some way, whether that was in a romantic relationship, a friendship, or maybe even a business situation. They made you believe that your contributions were valued and that you were working towards something mutual. But the 3 of Pentacles reversed energy here is revealing that they were never truly invested in the partnership. They were just harvesting what you could provide for them. What's really interesting about this card appearing in this position is that it's showing me how much your professional or creative energy was being drained by this person. The Three of Pentacles represents mastery and skill, and this person was essentially getting free access to your talents, your insights, your emotional labor, and your creative energy without giving you proper recognition or reciprocation. I'm seeing that this person might have been someone who would come to you for advice, for emotional support, or maybe even for professional guidance, and they would take what you gave them and then disappear until they needed something else from you. The Three of Pentacles is highlighting how your generous spirit was being taken advantage of and how you were essentially doing all the work while they were getting all the benefits. But here's where it gets really interesting. Now that you've stepped back and stopped offering your energy so freely, this person is realizing just how much they were depending on you. The Three of Pentacles represents the foundation of collaborative success. And without your contribution, their whole structure is falling apart. They're probably struggling in areas where they used to excel because they were relying so heavily on your support and input. This card is also telling me about the recognition factor. In a healthy Three of Pentacles situation, everyone gets credit for their contributions. But in your situation, this person was probably taking credit for things that you helped them achieve. Or at minimum, they weren't acknowledging how much your support meant to their success. Now that you're not there to prop them up anymore, they're starting to realize just how much they need you, and it's causing them serious anxiety. The third card in our spread is the Ten of Wands, card number 32. And oh my goodness, this card is revealing so much about what this person is experiencing right now in your absence. The Ten of Wands represents being overburdened, carrying too much weight, and feeling completely overwhelmed by responsibilities. This is exactly what's happening to this person now that they can't rely on you anymore. When you were actively engaged with this person, you were probably taking on a lot of emotional weight for them. The Ten of Wands shows me that you were carrying their problems, their insecurities, their fears, and their responsibilities alongside your own. You were essentially being their emotional support system, their problem solver, and their confidence booster all rolled into one. But now that you've set those burdens down and refused to pick them back up, this person is experiencing the full weight of their own issues for the first time in a long time. The Ten of Wands is showing me that they're completely overwhelmed, trying to handle everything that you used to help them manage. They're realizing just how much they were leaning on you, and without that support, they feel like they're drowning. This card is also revealing the anxiety component that's mentioned in our theme today. The Ten of Wands often represents anxiety, stress, and feeling like everything is just too much to handle. This person is probably having sleepless nights, constant worry, and that overwhelming feeling that comes when you realize you've been taking someone incredibly valuable for granted. What's beautiful about this card appearing in your reading is that it's showing you the contrast. While they're struggling under the weight of the Ten of Wands, you're free. You're no longer carrying their burdens. You're no longer responsible for their emotional well-being, and you're no longer exhausting yourself trying to prop up someone who wasn't appreciating your efforts. The Ten of Wands is also about the final stage of a cycle. This person has reached the end of their ability to function without your support, and they're being forced to face the reality of what they've lost. They're probably going through their days feeling like everything is harder than it used to be, wondering why they can't seem to get things together the way they could before. I'm also getting that this person might be reaching out to other people, trying to find someone else to fill the role that you played in their life. But the Ten of Wands suggests that they're discovering that what you provided was unique and irreplaceable. Other people aren't willing to carry their burdens the way you did, or maybe they just don't have the same natural ability to understand and support them that you possessed. Our fourth card is Death, number 14, and before anyone panics, let me explain what this powerful card is really telling us about your situation. Death in tarot is about transformation, endings, and rebirth. It's not about physical death, but about the death of old patterns, old dynamics, and outdated ways of being. This card is showing me that your decision to stop feeding this person's ego has created a massive transformation in both your life and theirs. The Death card is revealing that the version of you that used to be available for this person's emotional needs has died and been reborn into someone who values their own energy and sets healthy boundaries. This transformation has been profound, and it's probably caught this person completely off guard. They're dealing with the death of the dynamic they had grown comfortable with, where they could count on you to be their emotional supply whenever they needed it. This card is also showing me that this person is going through their own death and rebirth process, though they might not understand it yet. The anxiety they're experiencing because of your absence is actually the labor pains of a new version of themselves trying to be born. They're being forced to confront parts of themselves that they were able to avoid when you were there to absorb their emotional chaos. What's particularly powerful about the Death card in this position is that it's confirming that there's no going back to the old way of doing things. The person you used to be in relationship with them is gone, and they're slowly realizing this. They can't manipulate you back into that old dynamic because that version of you has been transformed into someone who sees clearly and won't tolerate being taken for granted. The Death card is also about the fear of the unknown. This person is experiencing intense anxiety because they don't know how to function without the safety net you provided. They're in that uncomfortable space between the old way of being and whatever comes next. And that liminal space is terrifying for someone who was dependent on your energy to feel stable. I'm getting that this person might be going through the stages of grief about losing access to you. They might have started with denial, thinking you would come back like you always did before. Then anger, probably getting frustrated or even nasty when they realized you were serious about your boundaries. Now they might be in the bargaining phase, trying to figure out what they need to do to get you back, but the Death card is telling me that what they're really mourning is their ability to take you for granted. The beautiful thing about the Death card is that it promises rebirth after the old patterns have been completely destroyed. For you, this rebirth has already happened. You've emerged from this situation as someone who knows their worth and won't settle for relationships that drain them. For this other person, their rebirth is still in progress. And part of that process involves learning to appreciate what they had instead of taking it for granted. Moving to our fifth card, the Five of Wands, number 27. And this card is painting such a clear picture of the internal conflict this person is experiencing right now. The Five of Wands represents struggle, competition, and chaotic energy. This person is literally at war with themselves, fighting between their ego that refuses to admit they were wrong and their deeper knowing that they messed up something really good. The Five of Wands is showing me that this person's mind is like a battlefield right now. Part of them wants to reach out and apologize to try to make things right, but their pride keeps getting in the way. They're struggling with admitting that they took you for granted because that would mean acknowledging that their behavior was selfish and inconsiderate. This card is also revealing the competitive aspect of their anxiety. They're probably wondering if you're giving your attention to someone else now, if someone else is receiving the care and energy that they used to take for granted. The Five of Wands suggests that they're imagining all these scenarios where other people are benefiting from your absence in their life. What's fascinating about this card is that it shows internal conflict rather than external conflict. This person isn't just missing you. They're fighting a war inside their own head about what your absence means and what they should do about it. They might be going back and forth between feeling angry at you for pulling away and feeling desperate to get you back. The Five of Wands is also about scattered energy and lack of focus. This person probably can't concentrate on anything else in their life right now because their thoughts keep circling back to you and what they've lost. They're expending so much mental and emotional energy on this internal struggle that they don't have much left for anything else. I'm also getting that this person might be seeking validation from other people, trying to get them to agree that you were wrong for pulling away or that they weren't really that bad. But the Five of Wands suggests that even when other people give them the validation they're seeking, it doesn't actually make them feel better because deep down they know the truth about how they treated you. Our sixth card is the Knight of Wands, number 34, and this card is revealing something really interesting about this person's current state of mind. The Knight of Wands represents impulsive action, restless energy, and someone who acts without thinking things through completely. This person is probably in a state of frantic energy right now, not knowing what to do with themselves now that they can't just reach out to you whenever they want. The Knight of Wands is showing me that this person might be making impulsive decisions, trying to fill the void that your absence has created. They might be jumping into new situations, new relationships, or new activities, but nothing is giving them the same sense of grounding and stability that your presence used to provide. This card is also about impatience and wanting instant gratification. This person is probably struggling with the fact that they can't just fix this situation immediately. They're used to being able to charm their way back into your good graces, but your new boundaries aren't allowing for those old manipulation tactics to work. The Knight of Wands can also represent someone who starts a lot of things but doesn't finish them. I'm getting that this person might be beginning to reach out to you and then stopping themselves, or maybe they're drafting messages they never send. They're full of restless energy and impulses, but they don't know how to channel that energy productively. What's really interesting about this card is that it can represent someone who is all action and no substance, which might have been part of the pattern in your relationship with them. They might have been really good at grand gestures and exciting moments, but they weren't consistent with the steady, reliable support that actually matters in a real relationship. The Knight of Wands is also showing me that this person's anxiety is manifesting as hyperactivity. They probably can't sit still, can't relax, and are constantly looking for distractions from the uncomfortable feelings that your absence is bringing up for them. But no matter how busy they keep themselves, they can't escape the reality that they're missing something essential that you used to provide. Card number 7 brings us the 8 of Cups, number 44, and this is where the reading gets really profound. The 8 of Cups represents walking away from something that no longer serves you, but in this case, it's showing me the perspective from the person you've walked away from. They're finally understanding that you've made a conscious choice to leave behind what you had together because it wasn't fulfilling your deeper emotional needs. The 8 of Cups is a card of spiritual and emotional maturity, and it's showing me that your decision to step back wasn't made lightly or impulsively. You carefully considered what this connection was bringing to your life versus what it was costing you, and you made the mature decision to walk towards something better, even if that meant walking away from what was familiar. This card is revealing that this person is starting to understand the depth of your decision. The 8 of Cups isn't about a temporary break or a moment of anger. It represents a spiritual journey away from what no longer serves, and this person is beginning to realize that your absence isn't a game or a manipulation tactic. You've genuinely moved on to seek something more aligned with your true needs. What's particularly powerful about the 8 of Cups in this reading is that it shows the courage it took for you to walk away. This wasn't easy for you either. The 8 of Cups acknowledges that there were probably good times, moments of genuine connection and real care between you. But you had the wisdom to recognize that the overall dynamic was draining your spirit and preventing you from finding the kind of deep, reciprocal connection you deserve. This card is also showing me that this person is experiencing a kind of spiritual awakening about what they've lost. The 8 of Cups often appears when someone is being called to look deeper, to go beyond surface level experiences and understand the spiritual implications of their actions. They're starting to realize that they didn't just lose someone who gave them attention, they lost someone who truly cared about their well-being and growth. The anxiety they're experiencing isn't just about missing your attention. It's about recognizing that you saw something in them that was worth investing in, and they squandered that gift. The 8 of Cups is showing me that they're having those middle-of-the-night realizations about all the ways they took your generosity and care for granted. Our 8th card is the King of Swords, number 64, and this card is revealing something crucial about how you're handling this situation versus how they're handling it. The King of Swords represents clear thinking, intellectual mastery, and the ability to make decisions based on truth rather than emotion. This is the energy you're embodying right now, and it's driving this person absolutely crazy. The King of Swords shows me that you've approached this whole situation from a place of mental clarity and rational thinking. You didn't make your decision to step back in a moment of emotional reactivity. You carefully observed the patterns, analyzed the dynamics, and came to a logical conclusion about what was best for your well-being. This card is also showing me that you're not being swayed by whatever emotional manipulation this person might be attempting. The King of Swords has the ability to see through deception and manipulation, and you're operating from that clear-sighted place right now. They might be trying to guilt you, charm you, or create drama to get your attention, but you're seeing right through those tactics. What's making this person so anxious is that they can't figure out how to get back into your good graces, because you're not operating from emotion, you're operating from wisdom and clarity. They're used to being able to push your emotional buttons and get a reaction, but the King of Swords energy doesn't fall for those old tricks. The King of Swords is also about justice and fair judgment. This person is probably realizing that your assessment of the situation was completely accurate, and that's uncomfortable for them to face. They can't dismiss you as being emotional or irrational because your decision was clearly thought out and based on a fair evaluation of how they were treating you. This card is also showing me that you're probably not engaging in arguments or lengthy explanations about your decision. The King of Swords speaks when necessary, but doesn't waste time trying to convince people who aren't ready to hear the truth. Your silence and your clear boundaries are more powerful than any argument could be. Card number 9 brings us the Queen of Pentacles, number 77, and this card is absolutely beautiful in this context. The Queen of Pentacles represents someone who knows how to nurture and care for others while also maintaining their own sense of stability and self-worth. This is who you've become through this experience, and this person is finally recognizing the treasure they let slip through their fingers. The Queen of Pentacles is showing me that you were always someone who gave generously of your resources, your time, your emotional support, and your practical help. You're the kind of person who creates abundance and security for the people in your life. And this person got comfortable receiving that abundance without adequately appreciating or reciprocating it. This card is revealing that this person is now seeing you with new eyes. They're recognizing that you weren't just someone who gave them attention or validation, you were someone who actually enriched their life in tangible ways. The Queen of Pentacles energy includes being nurturing, practical, generous, and grounded, and they're realizing they had access to all of those qualities and didn't value them properly. What's causing them anxiety is the recognition that the Queen of Pentacles energy is rare and precious. Not everyone has the natural ability to create the kind of stable, nurturing environment that you provided. They're probably looking around at other people in their life and realizing that nobody else offers the same combination of emotional warmth and practical support that you brought to their world. The Queen of Pentacles is also about abundance and prosperity, and this person is starting to understand that their life was more abundant when you were in it. Maybe their finances were more stable because you helped them with practical matters, or their emotional life was richer because you provided that steady, caring presence. Without that influence, they're feeling the lack in multiple areas of their life. This card is also showing me that you've learned to direct that Queen of Pentacles energy toward yourself and toward people who actually appreciate it. This person is realizing that all that wonderful care and support you used to offer them is now going elsewhere, and they're not okay with that reality. Our final card, number 10, is the 7 of Cups, number 43. And this card perfectly captures the confused, overwhelmed state this person is in as they try to figure out how to navigate their life without you. The 7 of Cups represents illusion, confusion, and having too many options without a clear path forward. The 7 of Cups is showing me that this person is probably fantasizing about different ways they could get you back, imagining various scenarios and outcomes, but they're not taking any concrete action because they don't know what would actually work. They might be lost in daydreams about apologizing to you or grand gestures that would win you back, but the 7 of Cups energy is all fantasy and no follow-through. This card is also about overwhelm and not being able to see clearly through all the emotional chaos they're experiencing. The 7 of Cups suggests that this person's mind is flooded with regrets, what-if scenarios, and confusion about how things got to this point. They're probably replaying conversations and interactions, wondering where they went wrong and what they could have done differently. What's particularly relevant about this card is that it represents someone who is caught between reality and fantasy. This person might be telling themselves stories about why you pulled away that allow them to avoid taking full responsibility for their behavior. The Seven of Cups can indicate self-deception and the tendency to see only what you want to see rather than facing hard truths. The anxiety component comes through strongly with this card because the Seven of Cups represents feeling paralyzed by too many possibilities. They don't know if they should try to contact you, leave you alone, apologize, move on, or what. This indecision and confusion is eating at them because they're someone who was used to having easy access to you, and now they're in completely unfamiliar territory. The Seven of Cups is also showing me that this person might be trying to replace what they had with you with multiple different people or activities, but nothing is giving them the same satisfaction. They're scattered and unfocused, trying a little bit of everything, but not finding anything that fills the void your absence has created. As I'm looking at all 10 cards spread out in front of me, the story they're telling is incredibly clear and profound. This person built their emotional stability around having access to your energy, your care, your insights, and your support. They got so comfortable with that arrangement that they stopped seeing you as an individual person with your own needs and started seeing you as a resource they could tap into whenever they needed a boost. Your decision to step back and stop feeding their ego wasn't just about setting boundaries, it was about reclaiming your power and refusing to participate in a dynamic that was draining your life force. The cards are showing me that this person is now experiencing the full impact of what they took for granted, and it's creating a level of anxiety and desperation they've never felt before. The beautiful thing about this whole situation is that it's revealed your true strength and wisdom. You had the insight to recognize an unhealthy pattern and the courage to change it, even though it meant walking away from someone you cared about. The cards are confirming that you made the right choice and that this person's current distress is actually a necessary part of their growth process. What's happening to this person right now is what happens when someone realizes they've been feeding off another person's light instead of cultivating their own. They're experiencing withdrawal symptoms from your energy, and they don't know how to generate that same sense of confidence and stability for themselves. This is actually a gift for them, even though it doesn't feel like one, because it's forcing them to develop their own inner resources instead of depending on yours. The cards are also showing me that this person's obsession with your absence is really about their fear of having to face themselves honestly. When you were available to absorb their insecurities and validate their ego, they could avoid doing their own inner work. Now they're left alone with all the feelings and fears they used to dump on you, and it's overwhelming. Your silence and absence are teaching them lessons that your words never could. They're learning that genuine care and support aren't things you can take for granted, that healthy relationships require reciprocity, and that using someone as an emotional crutch eventually backfires. These are hard lessons, but they're necessary ones. The Friday energy mentioned in our theme represents a culmination, a completion of this particular cycle of learning for both of you. Friday is traditionally associated with Venus, the planet of love and relationships, and there's something poetic about this person's obsession reaching its peak on the day ruled by the goddess of love. They're finally understanding what real love looks like versus what ego feeding looks like, and the contrast is stark. As we wrap up this reading, I want you to know that the cards are completely validating your choice to protect your energy and set firm boundaries. You're not being mean or cruel, you're being wise and self-preserving. This person's anxiety about your absence is confirmation that you were giving more than you were receiving, and you had every right to redirect that energy toward people and situations that appreciate it. The transformation you've undergone through this experience has turned you into someone who can't be taken for granted anymore. You've learned to recognize your own worth and to insist on being treated with the respect and appreciation you deserve. That's a powerful evolution, and it's going to serve you well in all your future relationships. For this person who's struggling with your absence, their only path forward is to learn how to value people before they lose them, how to give as much as they receive, and how to appreciate the gifts that others bring to their lives. Whether they learn these lessons or not isn't your responsibility. Your responsibility was to recognize your own worth and protect it, and that's exactly what you've done. The universe is supporting your decision to prioritize relationships that nourish you rather than drain you. This experience has been a masterclass in boundaries, self-worth, and the importance of reciprocal energy exchange. You've graduated from accepting crumbs and moved into expecting the full meal, and that's exactly as it should be. Remember that healthy relationships energize you rather than exhaust you. The right people will see your value and treat it as precious. They won't take your care and support for granted because they understand how rare and beautiful it is when someone chooses to share their light with you. As you move forward, trust that instinct that helped you recognize this unhealthy dynamic in the first place. Your intuition is finely tuned now, and you'll be able to spot people who are looking for emotional supply versus people who are looking for genuine connection. This experience has been your initiation into a higher level of relationship consciousness. The cards today have confirmed that you're on the right path, that this person's obsession with your absence is their problem to solve, and that your future holds connections that will honor and appreciate the beautiful energy you have to offer. Stay strong in your boundaries, trust your inner knowing, and remember that someone who truly loves you will never take you for granted. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. The cards have spoken clearly about this situation, and I hope their guidance helps you feel confident in the choices you've made. You deserve relationships that add to your life rather than subtract from it, and the universe is preparing to bring those connections to you.